everybody. Hello.
Mr. Ryan.
Thank you to everyone who did their homework yesterday. Give you some comments about it. What I'm seeing though, okay, what I'm seeing quite a lot of is people getting a little bit confused by what the idea of severe weather is. Now, some of you wrote about tsunamis. Who could tell me, is tsunami weather? Yes or no? Tsunami is
No.
No, they're not weather, right?
No, tsunami is a disaster.
Yes, thank you, Kwang Hai. Good job, buddy. Yeah, tsunamis are a disaster. Tsunamis, we said this yesterday, remember? We of the atmosphere in one place. A tsunami is caused by an earthquake and it happens underwater. Now, that is not within the atmosphere, okay? So you cannot talk about a tsunami when you're talking about weather. I know tsunamis are pretty interesting. You know, they're pretty scary. A big giant wave coming towards you. Like, that's kind of cool, but also scary at the same time. But it's not a form of weather. I also saw someone write about earthquakes. Earthquakes are not weather. Earthquakes, again, are caused by tectonic plates rubbing together and releasing energy in the form of seismic energy. That energy then causes the earth to shake, okay? So again, got to be careful when you're writing these bits of information. If you're unsure about something, if you don't know whether it's weather or not, it's a very simple thing that you can do, okay? You can open up Google and type in, are earthquakes weather? Or are tsunamis weather? And you'll be able to get your answer. Anybody else confused about what is weather and what's not weather? Okay, so yesterday we finished talking about tornadoes. So finished talking about tornadoes. Who can tell me, how do tornadoes start? Louis.
A hot, warm wind go on a side and cold wind go on the other side, and it make a black super or something, make a cloud, and it's form tornado.
Yeah. So when hot, moist air meets cold, dry air goes up, creates an updraft. When that touches the ground, then it becomes a tornado. Cool. Hannah, why are tornadoes dangerous?
I think tornado is dangerous because it can destroy our house and trees, and
Cool.
it can make destruction.
Yeah, it can cause destruction. Very good. Leo, what in a tornado, what causes destruction?
Wind.
Yeah, wind, right? So Kwang Hai, imagine you are a scientist. What information do you want to know about a tornado?
I need to know how the wind is a tornado and how the lightning comes to the land.
Yeah, okay. So how strong the wind is, right? Caroline, what else do you want to know about the tornado? You want to know how strong the wind is. What else do you want to know about a tornado?
You want to know how it moves and direct.
Yeah, you want to know its direction. Exactly. Perfect. Mickey, what do you use to know a tornado's direction?
I use wind vane.
Yes, a wind vane. Good job. Well done. And Sal, what do you use to measure the speed of the wind? You need to use an anemometer, okay? An anemometer. Anemometer is going to tell you the speed of the wind, okay? So we finished here. We start looking at hurricanes, okay? Hurricanes are strong tropical storms. Always happen in the same place in the world. Always happen in places where the weather is a bit warm, and usually they happen in the Caribbean and bottom part of America and the Caribbean. Okay, I'm going to show you a quick video about hurricanes to give you an idea about how they happen. Attention.
Over warm ocean waters near the equator. The warm air above the ocean rises upward, thus creating an area of low pressure below. Category 3, 4, and 5 are the most.
There we go. So that's it very quickly, right? That's what hurricanes are. They kind of look like tornadoes. They kind of act like tornadoes as well. And they can be really strong and really, really powerful. And they can be really, really big. Really, 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 really big. Now, take a look at this picture, okay? Now, this is a picture of the world, and this is where hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones happen. You see here, hurricanes always happen just here, okay? Starts in the Atlantic Ocean, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and comes in and hits here, hits Mexico, Central America, the bottom of America, and then it kind of turns up here. And once it goes through the other side, it moves on and goes into the Pacific Ocean. But once it goes there, it actually changes. It changes into what's called a typhoon. So here, Vietnam, we kind of get typhoons sometimes, just there. And then they come up and they go up towards Japan and Korea. But when they go to south, at the bottom, they become cyclones. So if you ever see the word typhoon or cyclone, it's actually the same as a hurricane. It's just in a different place. Now, what can you see from this picture? What pattern can you see? Where do these storms happen next to? It was in the video, in this picture as well. They all happen, look, next to the equator, right? Next to the equator. All of them happen next to the equator. Okay, the equator is like the center line of the Earth, like the fattest part of the Earth. It's the part that faces the sun and is closest to the sun. And because this part is closest to the sun, it's actually hotter than anywhere else. In that video, we saw that hurricanes happen when hot weather makes the water hot, it causes hot air to rise, and when it meets cold weather, it creates what looks like a tornado. So again, in these places that are warm, close to the equator, the water's hotter. So because the water's hotter, what happens is hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones. Look at the other pattern. They're all going the same way. You can tell me why they all go that way. What's the Earth doing all the time?
Spin.
Spinning. It's spinning, right? What way does it spin? What way does it spin? What way does it spin? If the Earth is always spinning the same direction, that's the way the weather is going to happen in that direction as well. It's always going to be a tropical path of the storm from that direction, okay? The Earth spins that way. And because the Earth's spinning that way, you have winds which are always blowing in these directions as well. So what they do is they push the hurricanes and the tropical storms in these directions. Who wants to read for me, please? Okay, so hurricanes are huge storms. Lightning storms happen when hot air meets cold air and they rub together, they create electricity. These are storms, but it's so cold that the rain falls as snow. We get lots of lightning in Hanoi. Suri, read for us, please. Daling, read, please. Okay, so that's lightning storms and blizzards. Now, I asked you to do this as your homework, but I want you to help me do it again. The same and what's different about tornadoes and lightning storms? Who can tell me something that's the same?
Tornadoes and lightning storms are the same because they both harm humans and they're dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous. Let's just say dangerous right there. Both dangerous. Okay, good job. What else is the same? Cindy, what's the same about the two types of weather?
Tornado and lightning storm will make the house break, and sometimes they also make the soil break.
So let's say that this can cause a lot of damage. Mickey, tell me something else that's the same with them.
They both have big rain.
Yeah, they both have a lot of rain. Good job. Something that's not the same with them. Okay, so tornadoes have very strong winds. Lightning storm, some wind. Which one is more dangerous?
The tornado is dangerous more than lightning storm
Okay, why?
because tornado can damage everything on its way.
Who thinks a lightning storm is more dangerous than a tornado? Could be. Hi, do you think they're more dangerous?
Yes, because lightning storm can just a lightning. It can make the trees burn, and it can make hit the object. Lot of things, but tornado just wins, but it is still dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. The way I can encourage you to answer this is a major difference is they are smaller.
And lightning storm can cough everywhere, and tornado just cough on their way.
Exactly. Tornadoes only go a specific way, right? And they're quite small. A lightning storm can be a lot bigger. So show you a quick picture. You can see here, the tornado, it's just, in that area. A lightning storm can be huge, right? It can be very, 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 very big. You can have lots and lots of lightning at one time. Tornado, you only get kind of one tornado. So yeah, they both cause a lot of damage. At the same time, a lightning storm can do damage over a much bigger area. And that's what I want you to think about going forwards, is that all of these types of weather happen, like they happen all of the time. But what I want you to start thinking about is, how do we prepare? How do we make sure that when this weather happens, I know this type of weather is going to happen, I need to make sure I'm going to stay safe. Let's get back to just this simple idea about, why does weather happen?
The sun.
Yeah, the sun, exactly, the sun. Remember that picture I showed you about hurricanes and typhoons, right?
Yes.
In the middle of Earth, at the equator, it's the hottest. So you get hot weather there. But what happens when the sun doesn't touch? Weather happens for many reasons, but mainly because of the sun. And when you think about the sun in different parts of the world, well, some places are more sunny than others. Where I'm from, we don't really get much sun. Maybe 10 days of sun a year. It's really cold, it's really wet, it's not a very nice place. So my weather where I'm from is going to be different than in Hanoi, because in Hanoi it's hot, close to the equator, it's really warm. What type of weather do you get when you are at the top of the world? We're not spoke too much.
Cold.
It's going to be cold, right? It's going to be cold.
Very cold.
And what about in the middle of the earth?
Hot.
Hot.
Warm.
Yeah, it's going to be warm. What happens when you're close to the sea?
Cold.
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 You're cold during summer and you're warm during winter. Water keeps in the heat. Water keeps things cool, and water actually keeps things warm as well. What I want you to understand is that everywhere is different, and different weather causes different problems, okay? So if you looked at this map of the world, okay, let's draw some lines. Let's go. Let's put the equator, and we have cold weather. Cold weather kind of happens here, there. You get cold weather here. Then in the middle, you get hot. I'm from a tiny little country here. My weather is cold because I'm far away from the equator. I don't get as much sun. Whereas Vietnam here, pretty close to the equator, right? Quite hot. So you get much warmer weather than you do here. Yes, the other day we had 39 degrees. And then where I'm from, I think it was 18. So again, a huge difference. Because the sun hits the earth in different places, because some places are hotter and colder than other places, you get different types of weather. So for example, what type of severe weather do you think you're going to get in Canada? You're going to get a hurricane, or are you going to get a blizzard?
A blizzard.
You're going to get a blizzard, right? So you get a blizzard up here. And what about close to the equator? You think you're going to get a blizzard, or you're going to get a hurricane?
Hurricane.
Hurricane.
And remember, it happens all across. So even over here in Russia, you're going to get blizzards because it's close to the top. And then down here, close to the bottom of the earth, you're going to get blizzards. Then over here, you're going to get hurricanes or typhoons. These things happen again in a pattern. Now, tornadoes follow a similar pattern too. They always happen in the middle of continents. You don't get it much here because there's not much space between. So there are the two main places that you get tornadoes. Tornadoes there, and then you get, where does it go? Tornadoes there. You do get some in some other places. They're the main areas. So what you can see is, again, it's a pattern. Blizzards happen when the places on the earth where it's cold and it doesn't get much sun. Hurricanes and typhoons happen in the middle of the earth where it is the hottest. And tornadoes happen in the middle of continents where you have water on both sides and winds pushing from different directions. And that's the pattern that I want you to now understand, okay, is that weather always happens in the same areas and the same places. The more we can understand about where these weathers are going to happen, the more we can prepare for it. That's one thing I want you to keep in your minds as well. So when you look at different types of weather, if I showed you this picture here in the top left, what type of weather do you think caused that destruction? Okay, who thinks the top one is a tornado?
I think it is a hurricane.
That's a hurricane.
Wrong.
That's a hurricane.
It's
What about
tornado because that house is not brick.
that's a hurricane? What about this one?
Blizzard. Blizzard.
And this one.
Tornado.
Tornado.
This one.
Lightning storm.
Lightning storm.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one thing that when you look at these pictures, they're kind of like, well, look, this one, and this one. It's kind of the same, right? Like, there's lots of destruction. There's trees broken down. Everything looks like a big disaster. But if I was to show you pictures on a map where these happened, you could guess the type of severe weather that actually caused them. Easier to know when you look at a map what type of severe weather happens, because when you see here, it always happens in the same area. You can guess, well, hold on. You can guess the type of severe weather that caused this just by knowing where they are on a map as well. So if you looked at this, what type of severe weather caused flood?
I think lightning storm and too much rain when the rain in the river and the river cannot hold any more water, it will go to the land.
Sure. So it could be a lightning storm, hurricane, or a tornado, right? Could be any one of those. But this one's easy. What caused this to happen?
Blizzard.
Yes, a blizzard. Easy, right? It's easy to look at pictures and go, okay, what's happening and what's going on. So I'm going to quickly show you what your homework is for tonight, okay? Here, what I want you to do is read the information about the weather in St. Louis. I want you to read this information and answer, okay? So answer all of these questions for 6, 7, 8, and 9. Am I clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, we understand.
Yes, we understand.
Okay, perfect. Right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.